Hey guys, this is Sean Waller, also known as Sean Your Realtor. Continue to educate yourself because this business is always evolving. Just continue to learn. With it, talk to you guys later. Welcome to the Strictly Free Game Podcast. I am Sean Waller, your host, also known as Sean Your Realtor. Whatever you want to call me, just make sure you call me. That's usually the little kick I give. I am here with a special guest today, Miss nominated for Woman of the Year. Well, I'll let you get into all of that. I have Miss Olivia Rosario.
Yes.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here.
Of course. And this is your first podcast.
It is. It is my first podcast, so I apologize.
No, you're going to be amazing. You're going to be amazing. So Olivia and I was just talking off camera, and she was giving me a lot of great insight on the projects that she's working on, her philanthropy stuff that she has going, but I'll let her give that information. Before we start, just give a little breakdown of yourself.
Okay, so my name is Olivia Rosario. I am Dominican. I was born in the Dominican Republic. I arrived when I was 3 months old, so I've been here for most of my life. I was educated here in the United States. I am one of 4 sisters. I live in Long Island, and I am married, and I went to law school. I went to St. John's University School of Law. Later in life, because I didn't listen to my mother and I wanted to do things my own way. But I decided to go back to college. I graduated from Hunter College, and then I went into law school. I went to St. John's University.
Oh, Queens
School
in the
of Law.
House?
Yes, I lived in Queens.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
What part of Queens did you live in?
Corona.
Okay.
Corona, Queens.
Very nice,
Yes.
very nice.
First I lived in Lafayette, and then we moved to Corona, Queens.
My grandfather used to live in Lafayette years ago.
We lived a long time ago.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a nice place.
It really was. It really was. When I grew up, when grandfather was living there, and I used to go visit, I used to love it over there.
Yeah,
I have
it's a little different.
Yeah.
The climate has changed a little.
Definitely,
unfortunately. But it's still very nice.
It is, right? It's 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes away from the city. You're right there.
And the train is close by, which is important.
Yeah. So before you got into law, you said you had another path. What was the other path prior to law?
So it was the wrong path. I was married by the time I was 19. I got married. So I had a child when I was 20. She's actually 32 now. So I realized that my mother was right all along. And I said, let me get back on the right path. And I went to college. I graduated from college, and then I went right into law school because I knew from early on that I wanted to be an attorney.
Oh, so you always knew? Okay.
I always knew.
Did you always know that you wanted to go into real estate law? I'm always curious when people go into real estate law. I'm like, why did you choose real estate law over any other field of law?
So I've been practicing for 21 years. Okay. So I've done a little bit of everything. And at the end of the day, I realized that I'd rather do real estate than anything else. So when I graduated from law school, I immediately I was in ADA. Okay. I was an assistant district attorney in Brooklyn. So I was doing that for some years. And I loved it. But then I said, let me see what else is out there. So I started doing personal injury. Okay. I did family law. I've done divorce, landlord-tenant. And I was really good at it. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay. I am good at the arguments,
Ain't nothing wrong with the pat on the back. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I am good at it. But then I started doing real estate, and I realized this is where I want to be because it's a happy occasion, right?
Yeah.
So the seller wants to sell the house, and the buyer wants to buy the house. So at the end of the day, it's happy. Everyone's happy. At the end of the closing, the seller has sold the house that they wanted to sell, and the buyer bought the house that they wanted to buy. And I want to be in that kind of environment, and not litigious and in court and fighting and arguing. I was becoming someone that I'm really not. Yeah. Even if I didn't think that I was going to argue. An example, I could have a conversation in the court before the judge with my adversary, and it was amicable, and we were going to resolve it. But when I went in front of the judge, it was something else. It's like I was becoming someone else, and I was fighting tooth and nail over something that may or may not be insignificant. Okay. And I said, no, there has to be another path. There has to be a path where everything is happy, and I like to see people happy and
But we're glad to have you in this real estate space anyway. We need more of people like that anyway. So when it comes to real estate, I feel like I'm only talk from my perspective, right? Like the community, black and brown, right? I feel like we're really underserved in that aspect. And when it comes to home ownership, people are a little timid. They're scared, especially if it's someone that doesn't look like them. So let's start the process. So when tell someone the steps of hiring a real estate attorney. How does it usually start?
Right, so when I started doing real estate, I didn't go in with that mindset.
Okay.
But the more I'm involved in the real estate, I realize I look around and I see we're not represented the way we should be. Right? Because we make up a huge percentage of the people that are buying homes now.
Yeah.
And I realized that we're not. And I said, okay, well, this is my niche. Right? So now I concentrate, I represent everyone the same way.
Yeah.
But I concentrate on first-time home buyers,
Okay.
Black and brown.
Okay.
I would say that probably the majority of my clients, maybe 90%,
90%. Okay.
are Black or brown. A lot of them are Spanish-speaking only.
Okay.
So it's important. I think it's important, and I think it's a disservice when an agent recommends a Spanish-speaking client to someone that doesn't speak
It
Spanish.
doesn't speak the language at all. Yeah.
Like an
Definitely.
attorney that doesn't speak, because it's complicated to explain a contract to someone not in their native tongue.
It can be intimidating.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
They can't understand what's going on. They can't understand it.
Okay.
Because it's hard when you're explaining to them in Spanish. You have to really break it down to its most principal concept and explain to them. And my consultations are an hour, if not a little longer, because I understand it's the first time. It's intimidating to people. They've never dealt with this much debt. You know, with this much responsibility. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So I notice a lot of attorneys they usually start the initial conversation, then you don't hear from them for a while. And I think a lot of people get a little frustrated with that. Can you explain your process after your consultation? What steps are the buyers, because you deal with a lot of first-time home buyers, what steps are they usually going through that process?
So when you come to my office for the first time, I introduce you to my staff. I have great staff. I mean, I'm a hard boss. I think I'm nice, but I'm a hard boss. Yeah. Well, I demand certain things.
Okay.
Right? And so I have a team, Jason, the paralegal. I have Ashley, my secretary, and Natalie, the receptionist. And they work very, very well. I was on vacation for a week, a quasi-vacation for a week, and nothing changed in my office.
Seamless.
It ran like a well-oiled machine. It really did. I mean, and they all speak Spanish also, so it's not like it's intimidating where the client, calls and no one can speak to them.
Good.
Right? So and English they speak.
Okay, of course, yeah.
But they speak Spanish fluently. So it's important because then the clients feel like they have someone there. So when you come to the first consultation, I introduce you to my office. Well, this is Jason, just so you can have a face to match.
Of course, yeah.
The voice, and this is Ashley, and this is Natalie. So then they have that they see the face who they're talking to. And I tell them, listen, I'm not always available because I am honest. I cannot always be available because I'm at closings or meeting other clients.
Yeah, you're always moving around.
And so I tell them, but you will be speaking to these ladies, and these ladies have more information than I do.
Okay.
Right? Because sometimes if I'm in the street and you call me on my cell phone, I have a different mindset. So
Of course,
I really don't know. So if you call me, well, when are we going to close on my house? I would tell you, just call the office because they have all the information that you need. So once we do that, the contract gets signed by my clients, the down payment gets sent over to the sales attorney, and then at that point we keep track just to make sure we get it as quickly as we can, because once I get it back fully executed, the contract, which means signed by the seller, everything's been accepted, then I order title right away. Because title is taking a long time.
Title takes a little while.
Yeah. And there's some attorneys that I know that will wait till the commitment to order title.
Yeah, I've dealt with that too, which I don't understand.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Not at all. Not at all.
Because at that point, I'm hoping to close within 2 weeks of the commitment. Right?
Makes sense. That makes sense.
But if you order title, it's taking about 2 weeks.
It's taking about 2 weeks just to get the title back anyway.
Right. And then if there are any issues,
which usually
mortgages,
always happens.
Which usually
let's talk about title. Now that you brought title up, what are usually the issues what are some, not even issues, we're not even going to talk the negative part of it. What are some of the things that will come up on title for someone? Because there's always something that's going to come up.
So it'll be open permits.
For the property?
For the property. If there's open permits for the property. If there's any violations on the property, that'll come up on title. Any debt that the house has will come up.
Okay.
So not only the mortgage, but there's certain debt, there's certain liens that get attached to the house. So like a federal tax lien will get attached to the house. Child support will get attached to the house.
A lot of people don't realize that.
Yes, they don't. Alimony gets attached to the house. Parking tickets.
I was just about to say that because I had a closing recently where there was an abandoned car in the driveway and there were tickets for that car. It wasn't technically parking tickets, but there was violations on that vehicle. So what usually happens when those violations come up, because a lot of people get a little nervous. So you're giving them a call and saying, I'll use myself, Sean, there's issues that came up on the title, there's a violation on something in the house, and now I'm panicking because I'm a first-time home buyer. So I'm panicking. I don't know what to do.
Right.
What is usually the conversation you'll have with them?
So we just actually will call you and she's just going to talk you through it, right? So we either are going to verify if it's yours or not, because there's a lot of common names, right? So I have a lot of clients, with common names.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we'll get 20 pages worth of liens.
Okay.
And then we'll just go, did you ever live at this address? No. And then it's just a matter of providing an affidavit at the time of closing saying that person is not you, that debt doesn't belong to you.
Okay.
Right. But if it does, right, if it's a parking ticket, then we just send you the link to go and pay it, send us the proof that you paid it, and we send it to title. We don't like to wait till the day of closing to address it, because you can actually pay it at the time of closing also.
Yeah, I know a lot of people try to hold off until closing.
But we don't. Let's not do that. It's yours. Pay it. Let's get to closing as quickly as we can. I don't want that to be an issue, right? Maybe your lender is not going to want it. It's not comfortable with you closing with that open parking ticket. We're going to pay it right away. You'll pay it right away. We'll send you the link. We'll help you. We'll talk you through it. I have a lot of clients that don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll send you the link. We talk you through it. We're on the phone with you. And then we make sure that you pay it, and we send the receipt to title so they can clear that. That's no longer an issue.
Good. It's interesting that, because we initially started our conversation over text.
Yes.
And after we started texting, I started getting phone calls from it's like, I'm telling you, things just happen for a reason. And I started getting phone calls with people asking me real estate law attorney questions. And I'm like, listen, I'm not an attorney, but this is what I know, so I can tell you this. So I recently had someone call me, their parent passed away. So when it comes to estate sales, so because they were in a different state, they live in California, the parents live in New York. What are documents that someone would get prepared for an estate sale? Like, because I don't know what my parents have. What should I be looking for?
So it always depends on how the deed is written. Right?
Okay.
So let's say it's a couple, and the husband died, it automatically transferred over to the wife.
Okay.
Right. So now it's the wife's property. Right. If they both pass away, right, and they didn't leave a will, then they have to go to court, right, and they have to create an administration.
Okay.
Right, they have to go to a surrogate's court, in whichever county the parent passed away or the person passed away.
Okay.
And they have to get letters of administration so that they can be able to sell the property.
So they're doing all of that before they even contact the attorney.
Well, sometimes they contact the attorney and there's words like you can be the sole heir, you can sign it as the sole heir, as a proposed administrator of the estate. We're submitting the documents. It hasn't been approved. I don't have the letters of administration yet.
Okay.
But I do expect to get it, and then we can go in there, and you can be, again, like the sole heir or the proposed administrator.
Interesting. What if you're not the sole heir? So say it's a situation where this is grandma's house, and grandma had 4 kids. It's 2 surviving kids left. What happens to the shares for those other 2 kids?
Oh, now you're going to a whole other level.
Because you know what
complicated.
happens. Yeah.
Right. So then what happens is you have to do the administration, right? Because you have to include everyone.
Okay.
Right. So the 2 surviving siblings, right? They get included. And then you said there's 2 that are deceased.
There's 2 that are deceased,
except that their husband or wife and their kids get a share.
Okay.
Right? So it would be divided in 4, 25% for each one. Right? So the ones that are surviving 25%, the other one's surviving 25%, and then the other 2 that are deceased, let's say one has 3 kids. Well, her 25% gets divided equally amongst the 3 kids.
Got it.
Let's say the other one didn't have kids but had a spouse. It goes to the spouse.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a lot more complicated.
Because
but it does
grandma
happen.
usually didn't have a will, right? This is the family's house.
Yeah.
When I pass away, the family will, keep the house, and it never happens like that.
Right.
It's interesting. What about when it comes to first time? Do you deal with a lot of people that are investing for the first time, like first time investors? What advice do you usually give to that first time investor? Because you hear a lot of people say you shouldn't put this property in your name. It should be in LLC's name.
So it should always be in an LLC name.
Okay.
And not just one, because I have this one gentleman that wanted one LLC, create an LLC and have all the property in that name, under that LLC. No, create an LLC for each property.
Each property.
Yes, because that limits your exposure to liability.
Okay.
Right? So if there's an issue with this particular house, then they'll go after that LLC, not all the property in your LLC. That LLC has less.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So if you're a first time investor, you
Right.
should definitely have an LLC for each property.
Correct.
Let's go back into your philanthropy, because we were talking about that. She was just telling me some really dope stuff off camera. And even Matt was like, whoa, don't do it, don't do it. He's about to have a heart attack. Give me a little information about what's going on with your projects.
Okay, so I'm huge with philanthropy. I really feel that you need to pay back what you've gotten. Muhammad Ali said, "What charities the rent you pay for your time here
Yeah, I think I've heard that before. Yeah.
on earth," and I really believe that. So I do believe in giving back, not just to my community, but to everyone that I can help, right? So I'm a big believer, don't raise the ladder once you make it. You keep it down and you try to pull as many people up with you as you can.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
So that's huge. I am huge on that. I do practice that, and I don't just preach it.
Nice.
So I am involved in a couple of projects. I'm a member of an organization called FUPAC. It's a Dominican-based charity.
Okay.
It's a foundation, and what they do is they build houses for people that need the houses, that are in need. I don't like to say, poor people, because I don't want to classify them.
Of course,
but people that need the assistance, that need the help. So they build houses, and more importantly than that, actually they have Doctors Without Borders and dentists. So they have doctors and dentists that come from all over the world, and they stay in the Dominican Republic for 2 or 3 weeks, and they service the community, for free. And they do surgeries, they do dental work, which is important over there.
Of course,
because it's not priority in the Dominican Republic. So right now I'm working with that organization, because I have my own foundation in Dominican Republic also. Okay. And I'm trying to set something up for August, where I'm gonna have the doctors and the dentists come to the town, the countryside that my parents are from, so we can help the children and get the medical assistance and dental care.
Now you also mentioned something
needed.
about like a clothes drive and everything that you're doing over there too, right?
Right, so I do 2 big drives a year. So one is August. I've adopted a school, and what I do is I get all the kids their uniforms, shoes, socks, underwear. I prepare them for school, their books, school supplies, pencils, pens. I get chalks for the teachers. I also help the teachers.
Very nice.
And I take it over in August, because they start school the 3rd week of August. So I try to go the 2nd week of August, and we do like a whole day, what we call a pasadilla.
Okay.
And it's like a whole day, and we feed them, and we go to the river, and it's such a great event. And we bring candy and food, and it's something that the day, in the evening when it ends, they're already talking about next year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So that's how excited.
How long have you been doing it now?
So I've been doing it already for like 10 years, but I haven't done it the last 2 years because of COVID.
Because of COVID? Okay.
And the schools were closed.
They were doing remote learning.
They were doing
over there
remote
too?
learning.
Okay.
I mean, I have sent supplies, but I haven't done the whole get together because, just for the fear of COVID.
What could someone do if they wanted to donate? Like, are you taking donations from here and shipping them over? Or?
Yeah. So I take donation, but I don't have an official.
Okay.
I haven't registered it here in the United States.
Okay.
It is
well, you gotta
registered.
set it up so we can start donating some stuff.
Right, in the Dominican Republic. So I'm careful not to ask for donations.
Okay.
I take donations for that organization from family and friends and anyone that wants to help.
Okay.
But I haven't registered it here, although it is in the works.
It is in the works. Okay.
So I'm also a member of the FUPAC, and that's the one that I branched out from there, because they are the ones that bring the doctors and the dentists. And we were just there in December giving food baskets for Christmas, like Christmas baskets.
Okay.
We gave over 2,500 baskets out. We went to different small towns in Dominican Republic.
Nice.
It was 5 days. It was tiring, but it was such a nice time.
Good. I'm pretty sure they love it. Like you said,
Oh my
they're
God.
always looking forward for the following year too. So.
And they appreciate so much, and it's the thanks, and it's the you got to give back.
It's all about giving back. You have to.
You have to give back.
Yeah.
It's just it's just the thing to do.
That's amazing.
If God has blessed you with something, then I think you got to share that.
Well, you have been blessed, right? So now,
I have.
Because you just told me that you were nominated for like Woman of the Year.
I have been.
Nice.
So, I've been nominated for Woman of the Year. It's the Leukemia Lymphoma Society.
Okay.
And it's
I've heard of that.
special to me because I do have family members now struggling with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So it is it's close to my heart. And we're trying to get donations. That's what it's about, right?
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Where can they donate? Is there like a link or something that we
So
can?
it's March 2nd. That's when it starts officially.
Okay.
So I've started sending out things like on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, just saying March 2nd. We will be doing an event. We have 6 weeks to raise this money.
We'll raise it. We'll raise it. Is there like a certain goal? Is there a certain amount?
So my goal is 500,000. So
All right.
no one has raised that much.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And it's such a worthy cause. It's such an important thing. It's something that cancer has affected everyone's life.
So everyone has been like affected by it at some point.
Everyone.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if we can put an end to that, it would be great. It would be great. And any little thing that I can do to help.
That's amazing.
So I have a team now of 12 people, amazing women.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm taking men if they want to participate.
That's fine.
But
So ladies first, anyway, right?
Well, I have these are these are awesome, trailblazing women that I have surrounded myself with. So we're looking forward to raising $500,000.
Nice, $500,000. So Matt, got to bring up the checkbook.
Yes. Sean, your checkbook.
Oh, she got me. I'm definitely donating. I'm definitely going to donate. So as soon as I guess you give me the link or something, we'll do it.
I'm going to put the link on Facebook and everywhere.
Okay, we'll even try to put the link on the podcast too.
Yeah.
So send it to me before we do everything. We'll put it on there.
So March 2nd we'll be accepting donations, and we are going to be having one event.
Nice.
I have to just look for the location. We're going to be having an event. We're going to have like an auction. We're going to be selling paintings.
Nice. Okay.
There's a couple of the members.
Is it like local painters?
Yeah. So a couple of the women.
Very nice.
Part of my team that are artists that really they do very well.
Very, very.
Something I'm telling them already to start, drawing something, and so we can sell it. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a really nice event.
All right, I'm coming. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to
you
that.
gotta be there.
Yeah, I'm definitely
You have no choice. It's on camera now, so you have to be there.
I'm definitely there.
And you say you were donating about 100,000? Is that what you said?
I said Matt, but we'll definitely do our part. We're definitely gonna do our part to that.
Thank you.
Now to segue back, right, to real estate law. So I deal with a lot of first-time home buyers too. And it's usually a lot of couples that I'm working with. A lot of young couples. Everyone is, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed when they're getting into it. And I always tell them, like, listen, both of you better, if you're putting something into this house together, everybody should be on this deed. Can you give a little knowledge coming from Olivia? Like what advice, what perspective are you giving these first time home buyers when it comes to that part of it? Because a lot of people, they think everything's gonna last forever.
Right. Yes, and it doesn't. Unfortunately. Most things don't last forever.
Yeah.
So when I get a couple, first you ask, are they siblings? Because I haven't made the mistake, or I've married mother and son, But so first you get clarity as to what the relationship is. I have right now a boyfriend and girlfriend that are buying a house. That makes me nervous because they're not even engaged and they're not married. Yeah. But good for them. But then we have to make sure that the deed is worded in such a way where it's 50-50, right? So her 50% is hers. So if let's say, Lord forbid, they don't get married and they want to dissolve it, then they would just one of them could sell it to the other one, the 50%, or they can just sell the house and everyone just gets the 50%, which is typically what happens. They just sell the house, and then, you know, the profit, you get your 50 and I'll get my 50. But of course, it's a relationship, so I put more in, and you know, and
of course, it always happens. I'm dealing with a situation like that as well. Yeah.
Right. So it's unfortunate, but a lot of times, so I kind of
So there's
recommend.
different wording that you could put into it.
Yeah, there's different wording that you can put into the deed,
Okay.
depending on the comfort. And like the couple that I have now, they actually have a separate agreement that they're entering into. Kind of like, you put this percentage in to the down payment, you put this percentage, so that if and when you know the relationship dissolves, then they'll have a document that says, okay, well then I'm gonna get this off the top, I get this off the top, and then the rest we divide 50-50.
Good for them. I'm glad that they even starting the process, because a lot of people usually.
Yes, no, because a lot of people think it's forever.
Yeah.
It's forever.
Yeah, and I've seen some.
Nice.
It's nice. I've seen some situations where it hasn't even lasted a year after the house, and I'm like, oh, now you have to sell it.
Because it's very stressful. Like people, it's a great thing to buy a house, but at the same time, people have to understand that this is it's serious. It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
And this is a house. It's not just like renting an apartment where you can just break the lease and leave, right? With very little consequences. This is a house. So you have to make sure that the money's there to pay this every month, to maintain it in good condition, to pay the electricity, you know, the gas, the oil if it's oil. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into buying and the responsibility, but it is the thing to do. Especially I tell
Talk to
my community.
Talk to them.
And I do a lot of first-time home buying seminars.
You do a lot of seminars, okay?
I do, and I go to churches and I speak to people. I'm going to Brooklyn at the end of this month, and I tell them it is the thing to do. And I tell them, you don't have to hire me. I don't want anyone to think that I want them to buy a house so they can hire me and I can make more money. It's okay, you don't have to hire me, but buy a house. Why? Because you're paying rent to a landlord, right? And that house is never, ever going to be yours. Yeah. You're not building anything for your family, right? So generational wealth.
That's what it's about.
You're not building anything, and we always think about our kids and leaving something for them, but this is how we start.
This is how you started. Yeah.
This is how you start. Right? You buy a house. And you don't have to live there for 30 years. You can actually sell it, right? And get the profit.
I tell people that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's us, but we always feel like we have to buy one property and stay in it forever.
And stay for 30 years.
Stay for the 30 years.
It's okay.
I think that you could get the starter home, and then you could gradually move up, which we all should do anyway. You don't want to live, was it house rich and cash poor?
Right. Yeah. You buy whatever you can afford now, but buy it. It may be small. You're not obligated to stay there for 30 years. It's okay, you can sell it. Yeah. Whenever you want to sell it. Obviously, if it makes financial sense. Yeah. You sell it, it's yours. Sell it. With the money that you're making, the profit, you buy something bigger. Or I have people that bought the house and then they refinanced it, and with the money that they took out of the refinance, they bought something else. And that's how you build the generational wealth. And this is what we want to see. We want to see our kids do better, right? We don't want, my parents came immigrants. I mean, my mother worked in a factory. My father worked, you know, washing dishes for a long time, and then he became a business owner. You know, but it was a long road for my parents, you know, and they did everything that they could so that we did better, so that we had more. So my parents bought a house, and you know, my father then became a business owner, because he always thought of the family, right? And I think that's especially as in our community, that is what we think about, our family and how we're going to better things for our family. It's important to us. It
is. I think sometimes we put it more into material than we should, as far as other things, and trying to impress the other, you know, the outsiders instead of really taking care of the structure of the house. Yeah.
Right. You know, that's a huge problem. Sometimes, you know, you just first work here and then try to see what you can bring to better, you know, the family. Don't forget that you're doing it for the family, but don't forget the family. Because sometimes we're trying to do things for the family and we haven't seen our family for days because we're all working. So if we're trying to better the family, how are we not with the family?
That's very true.
But it's a balance. It's not easy.
It's all about balance. What about So I'm pretty sure you deal with a lot of sellers as well.
Right, yes.
Crazy market.
It's a crazy market right now.
It's a crazy market right now.
Well, now it's crazier than it was before, believe it,
Yeah.
because now there's no inventory.
There's really no inventory.
No.
Really no inventory. I'm actually dealing with a situation now. We got an accepted offer on, what is today, Wednesday? Got an accepted offer late Sunday night, and they were trying to set up the inspection for today. And I was like, 2 days, 48 hours is too long.
Yeah.
How's everything working now as far as like getting contracts out? Because I know that is also like another task in itself, especially when you're dealing with the buyer or seller.
So we're aggressive in the office. So if we represent the seller, we're getting that contract out within 24 hours. So we're doing everything possible. We have to speak to the client. So sometimes if we can't speak to the client, it's going to take us longer. But if we can make contact with the client, we're sending that contract out within 24 hours.
Yeah,
No questions.
no questions.
If I'm the buyer, we're making sure that within 24 hours of the time I receive the contract, my buyer is in. So I do work very crazy hours.
Do you? I mean, I think everyone is.
Well,
right?
because, but I have attorneys that at 5 o'clock, the
They're
doors
gone?
close.
Really?
Or 6 o'clock, that's it.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm from the community, I understand. So if I have to wait for someone at 8 o'clock, I'm not saying I want to do it every day. but if you get out at 7 and this is the only time you can come, I will accommodate.
Nice.
Saturdays in the morning. And then I will do some Sundays, which I try really not to do because you need one day at least to
You
rest.
need at least one day off.
But I have clients. I work 6 days a week, long hours, and the only time they can come see me is on a Sunday. So and they're not well versed with the whole Zoom, with the virtual signing.
I'm over Zoom. I'm zoomed out.
I'm done. My personality doesn't come through in Zoom.
It's this Zoom. I'm like, I'm tired of looking at the screen.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't really know about. So break down what's in a contract for the most part, right? Like there's a lot of language in there. Don't go too far into it, but like
because I can spend 3 hours here talking about contract.
Yeah, it can go a little crazy. But the important parts of a contract, like you have the on or about date. You have
right. So the ones the highlights.
Oh, there you go. I like
the
that.
Highlights. So you confirm the person's name because 9 out of 10 times it's incorrect, right? Because you're missing 3 last names.
Yeah.
Right. So you first have to, confirm the person's name, confirm the address and the price. You'd be surprised how many people come in and say, "Oh no, I thought it was this. It wasn't that price." Confirm the price. Confirm the down payment, how much they're going to give. Another important thing to explain is how they get their down payment back and how they lose the down payment.
That's a
right?
big
Because
one.
that's huge. So I begin with telling you how you get your down payment back. If you lose your job, anything outside of your control. But more importantly is how you lose your down payment, right? So if it's something that you should have known, it's too far from my job, I don't want the commute, it's too late. You should have known that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very careful with the people and when I explain it to them. I also explained that it's not in my control, the down payment. It's in the seller's attorney's control because you get a lot of people saying, just give me my down payment back.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I don't have it. I told you it's with the seller's attorney.
Yeah.
So that's another important thing. Seller's concession, which we're not seeing too much of.
Yeah, not as
So a
much.
lot of people don't understand really what a seller's concession is. They think that the seller is going to help them or going to give them the money for the closing costs. So you'd be surprised how many people come in and goes, "No, the seller's going to do that for us." No, the seller's doing nothing except allowing you to borrow
that
extra.
money. I think the seller's concession throws people off.
Right.
I think is worded completely
Right.
wrong. Yeah. And everyone thinks that they're supposed to get free money from
Exactly.
someone.
That the seller's giving you free money. That's not the case.
Yeah.
So that's money that you're borrowing. Another important thing is the 45 days for your mortgage commitment. That's important because they need to understand when the time starts ticking, right, for the 45 days. Even though you come pre-approved, I tell them I'm not a lender, but I've been doing it long enough so I can explain the process to you, and they're going to be asking for the same bank statement 20 times over.
Yeah.
It's not that they've lost it, it's that it goes from department to department. I tell people just PDF it. And just
simple,
save it. And just every time you get paid, take a picture, save it, and just send it to them because they're going to be asking for it. So I tell them that in the 45 days. And then the important thing is on or about the closing date. So you'd be surprised how many times this happens. So I have to tell my clients now, if the lender tells you we're closing on Friday, but you haven't heard it from me, don't pack up your belongings. don't tell your landlord that you're leaving on Friday, because
Yeah.
it's happened so many times.
So many times, yeah.
Because you may be clear to close on the bank side, but there may be title issues, right? Or the attorneys, we have to now consult at each other's calendars and set a date to close. So it may not be Friday. Don't take the day off.
Yeah.
You know, don't rent. All this has happened. Don't rent the truck for the weekend. Just don't. And I tell people, and they still do it.
They still do it.
They still
I think
do
it's
it.
because I think the lenders kind of, everyone's excited.
Right.
And they're not really expressing, like, you got to
Right.
clear the close, but don't do anything yet.
Right.
It's not scheduled.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like I explain to people, like I'm the wet blanket. I'm the skunk at the picnic, right? Because I'm the one that's going to give you, you know, maybe news you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
We are going to get there, just not this Friday.
Okay.
Right. So that's huge. That's huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. That on or about date.
But how does the owner about that? Because I'm actually, I know how it works. I always ask this question like third party. But I have a client that's building a house in North Carolina. Our owner about date is February 15th, and I was letting them know, like, listen, you can extend it for a certain amount of time. How does that usually work when it comes to that?
So on or about means that it could be 30 days after, right? So if you said February 15th, so it's March 15th.
March 15th, yeah.
So automatically, like, you don't even have to request that time. It's, you know, you should tell the other attorney, like, listen, we're not going to be ready for February 15th. That's fine. March 15th, that's the date. That's the outside date. Now, if you're going to go past March 15th, right, then you have to now start discussing with the other attorney and give the reason why. But usually, if I'm representing the seller and he's building something out of state, which I have, then I make sure that I put it's contingent upon, you know, him finishing the house and purchasing the house or being ready to move. So there are things that you can modify in the contract just to make it clear so that the other party knows that I'm building something and I need that completed before I can close. So that then those buyers are not, you know, packing up their clothes before time. Because, you know, it has happened where I'm the seller and I have the buyer's attorney calling me, you know, hey, listen, we have an on or about date. Yes, but I said that my clients were moving out of state and that it was contingent upon them closing, them being able to close, getting their commitment.
Getting their commitment, yeah. Yeah. No, that's a key because a lot of people don't know that they have that option.
Yeah.
What happens if they go past that 30-day? Like now they're going past the 30-day, the buyer already locked in their rate. It gets
hairy.
Yeah, it's getting crazy. Everyone goes from happy to now they're pissed off at this point.
So I mean, if I'm the seller and I've added to the contract that it's contingent upon my commitment on my purchase, then there's really nothing we can do. Their lender should have seen, right, that we probably were not going to be ready by March 15th to move. And now the buyer has to start extending rates. And they are not happy about extending rates. At all. But the way I explained it to people, I had someone come to the office the other day and they had to pay, I think it was about $900 to extend the rates. To extend it? But the difference in the rates was, I don't want to lie, but maybe it was from a 3.2 to a 3.75, something like that.
That's a big difference.
So we calculated the difference. And within the 30 years, they were going to have to pay like $109,000 more.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
So I said, so what do you want to do? You want to pay $900 now or $109,000?
Yeah.
You know, during your 30 years.
Doing 30 years.
And they're like, okay, I'll pay the $900. I mean, it's, you know, it's...
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you need to break it down so that people can understand, you know, the lender's trying to help you because the rates now are so low and they're going up. Yeah, they're so if they lock you in, pay it. Yeah. Pay the extension because it's worth it. At the end of the day, it's worth it.
No, listen, you heard it from Olivia.
But sometimes you have to explain to people because all they see is the now. Yeah. They see now I have to come out of pocket $900.
Can you explain the closing disclosure? What goes into that closing? Because a lot of people, they think that they're just paying a down payment and closing costs, but it's a little bit more into that, right? Like you have other fees that's going to be in that. You don't have to go too deep in, but what's usually in that closing disclosure? And how does the closing disclosure work? Like when do they usually get it from?
So initially, I'm not a lender, so whatever I say, don't take my advice. But what you do is you get a loan estimate at first, right? And it's just I tell my clients it's an estimate. You're going to get an estimate. It doesn't mean that this is what you're gonna have to
They don't
pay
hit
at the end of the day.
estimate. That part always goes
That's
up.
the problem, because sometimes they'll call me and they say, but look, this document says that it's going to be this amount. And I said, yes, but see, loan estimate. It says it on top.
Yeah.
It's just an estimate, more or less what you're going to pay. And it's not that big of a difference. Sometimes it's difference maybe of $100, you know, really that you're going to be paying per month. But it's an estimate. So that's what you first get. And in there, it's going to include the taxes. It includes fees that you're going to have to pay, your title fees. You have to pay sometimes your extension to lock your extension. So sometimes in your loan estimate, obviously they haven't calculated that. So then at the end of the day, they're paying more, but it's because those things, underwriting fees.
Underwriting fees, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
There's like a lot of other things that get included in there. And some people don't understand, you know, but I work with some really good loan officers that really sit down and explain.
Oh, good. Good. Because a lot of them don't. A lot of them just throw
Not
it.
every, but I work with
Not my preferred lenders. My preferred lenders are different. Gotta make sure you
not our lenders, but I've heard.
I've heard about the other lenders.
It's crazy talk, but I've heard that the lenders that don't really explain the CD to them. And at closing, I said, you've seen this document, yes. Has anyone explained to you? And you'd be surprised. Sometimes they tell me no. No one's explained that document. So we'll go line by line, you know, just explaining what it is that they're paying. We're at the closing table, it's too late. You're closing.
Yeah.
So whether you want to or not, whether you realize you were paying for a point or not, you're paying for it now. And at the end of the day, it's beneficial for you anyway. That is how I explain to them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you are saving money in the long run.
And there are times that you probably won't get that final number until the day of closing.
So we sent out, when we represent the buyers, we sent out a checklist, right? And it's first-time home buyers, so they're very nervous. They want the checklist like a week before.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from us. It comes from the bank attorney, right? And then we explain to them 1,000 times. So we explain to them 1,001 times, and they're like, but I have to go get the checks, but we don't have the checks yet, right? So, and I've had clients that actually go buy the CD that they got, and they just go and get a check.
Oh, just get a check for
Just get a check for the cash to close. And I'm like, well, we haven't divided it yet. We don't know, you know, where it's going.
Yeah.
You know, and then they have to go back and redeposit. And to redeposit a certified check is not that easy.
That's not easy at all.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised because it's so quick to give it to you. But then
they put you through the ringer just to
it's the same money that's coming right back.
Yeah.
know, but they put you through the ringer. Yeah, you're right. So I tell people just, sometimes I'm at a closing and numbers change, and you have to go get your checks.
Hopefully the bank is close.
Well,
I've
you
had
know,
situations where
yes.
the banks are nowhere.
Yes.
Nowhere.
Yes.
Well, their bank is
Yes.
have a bank close by.
MCU.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've had closings in Suffolk County and they have to go to MCU.
To MCU,
It's I'm not speaking ill of the bank. I'm just saying that there aren't a lot of branches.
Me and MCU had a little tussle before, but I still got love for them.
It's not.
This come from the Sean. It's not come from.
No, it's just, but the bank is far.
It's far. Yeah.
But
it's typically a Queens a Queens branch.
The city. There's actually one in Nassau, I believe. And I don't want
There's an MCU.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. I think it's Jovia now or something like that.
Jovia.
Yeah, I think they changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak about bank and give misinformation.
Yeah. We represent all banks here.
But Jason and Ashley, they're so good at my office that if you're buying checks, if you have to get certified checks at the closing, they'll ask you who you bank with, and they'll find you a bank nearby.
Nice.
Yeah, we're full service.
Good.
We'll go to the bank for you.
Nice. And you cannot bring cash on closing. Does not mean cash at closing. Like you literally cannot bring a wad of cash.
You cannot bring cash at closing. You can't.
Yeah.
You cannot. I've had people try. You cannot. And it has to be from a sourced account. Because I have people that try, my mother just gave me this money. You know, it's coming from her account. But the day of closing, all checks have to come from a sourced account. A sourced account is an account that the lender has already seen and approved. Right, because they go through. A lot of people don't
know that. I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
They'll bring a check from mom or a dad or something like that. Yeah.
We can't do it. Even when when you come to sign the contract, some people they have a business, so they'll bring a check from their business account, and as soon as they send it to the lender's like, no, it cannot be from that account. I haven't sourced that account. It has to be from X account or one of these 2 accounts.
Nice.
You know, so.
Yeah, listen, it's that's why you gotta have Olivia on your side. She's gonna
Right, and I've been doing this for so long that I know a lot of attorneys on the other side, so it's not adversarial. So today you'll do me the favor, tomorrow I'll do you the favor.
Nice.
You know, just let's not kill the deal. My client made a mistake. You know, because now if you just
triggered something for me. Kill a deal. You just triggered something. Like I just have flashbacks, and I'm pretty sure every realtor will probably say that. Attorneys are deal killers.
Right.
Why does everyone have that perception that attorney? Well,
I don't know. Some attorneys are.
Some are, yeah.
And I don't understand why.
Yeah.
It doesn't benefit anyone. Again, it's not adversarial. I don't see it that way. So if you want to sell me your house, I think the attorney should do everything possible to make that happen.
To make it happen, yeah.
Right? I mean, protecting the laws of my clients. But if it's going to take me 6 days to get this to you, I'm working on now where I have to have it back to them within 5 days or the deal is dead. Within 5 days.
Within 5 days, yeah. It's crazy.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. They'll get it today. We got it yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't understand that urgency. But I think it's a lot of agents that are putting this pressure also.
Definitely.
Because the clients don't know.
They don't know. No.
Right.
And they're putting that out there, and now it's in the seller's head for usually the most part, and everything has to be done right now. They usually want you to have the contract out as soon as they accept the offer.
Yeah. I've had where we signing seller and buyer. We're having the first meeting, everyone together.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Which is so unusual.
Yeah, I've never
Just
seen.
because the seller wants to make sure that when he signs, that the buyer signs and that he's going to sign right away and they're going to get the down payment right away.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very aggressive right now.
Wow.
It's very aggressive right now.
Damn. I've never seen that. That's a first.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad idea, but that's
But I'm like, can I have some privacy so I can speak to my client about the contract and the pitfalls and what could happen?
Yeah.
You know, and they did. They were nice enough to give me about 15 minutes to myself to explain to my client the pitfalls of it. You know, because I have to explain it to them.
Of course.
That's my job. And a lot of people, they don't want to hear when I tell them, no, you can't do that. Or no, that's not a good option.
Like I said, usually the attorney's going to be the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm the skunk at the picnic.
Yeah, because we showed them the pretty house already.
Right.
We got them to accept, especially in this market. And now you have someone that's telling them, like, listen, this is ABC could happen.
Right,
you know.
right, and people don't want to hear.
You have their best interest at heart.
I do, and this is what I tell them. I said, you know, and you'll dislike some of the things that I say, but it's like a parent-child relationship. I'm doing it for you, the benefit, for your benefit, to make sure that you know, at the end of the day, you get, not only do you get the house that you want, you get a great deal.
Of course,
and then you're protected, right? You don't want to get into a house with, you know, 50 violations.
And speaking of great deals, right? So crazy, it's a seller's market, super aggressive. Everybody's waiving everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like I'll waive. They're just making things up at this point.
Yes.
What advice are you giving your clients when it comes to that? If you receive this contract on your desk and saying they waived the appraisal, they waived they waived the mortgage commitment, they waived everything.
Everything.
What advice are you giving them?
So,
what can you possibly tell someone at that point?
Those are the meetings that take an hour and a half because I'm clear, because I need you to understand what you're waiving. At the end of the day, so we tell clients, you're my client, I'm your attorney. So if you want us to do something, we'll do it. But you have to understand what you're waiving, right? I'm not going to let you just say, okay, yeah, I waived that, without you fully understanding what it is that you're waiving. Because it could be a good deal. I understand it's a seller's market, but at the end of the day, if you don't have $60,000 to come up with, right, you're done. You're in trouble, right?
So now what happens if they waive the mortgage commitment and all that good stuff? What happens? Just let them know what's possibly could happen. So the house doesn't appraise. They waive. So
I have a situation right now where the house didn't appraise at the price. It appraised for a lot less. And we were supposed to waive it, but I put a clause in there where it had to appraise at least at $650. Okay. And if it appraised at $650, then my client was going to pay the rest.
They pay the difference.
They were going to pay the difference.
Okay.
It appraised at $620. Like it appraised a lot lower. So I was able to get my clients out of it. At the end of the day, they wanted to pay the difference.
They wanted to pay that difference?
Yeah, they had the money. And I always advise people against that, because now you're paying more than something is worth.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're my client. And as long as I I fulfill my responsibility to explain to you what it is that you're doing, and you still want to do it, that's fine.
That's
we'll
on
do
you,
it.
yeah.
But
I've
that's
had
on
people,
you.
the same scenarios. Like if I'm running comps and sometimes you can't project what an appraiser is going to give you. But if you see that those numbers, like that's a big gap.
Yeah.
So something was there to let that agent
Right.
know that this may not appraise. And I'm telling people like, listen, walk away. I understand you've seen a million houses.
Yeah.
You've been rejected by all of these offers. And now you have the one that accepted it, but they accepted your offer maybe for a reason.
Right. Is it the best thing for you?
Yeah,
It may, it may not be, and that's when I come in and, these people. I've had people that come out of pocket $50,000.
That's a lot of money.
People offer a lot over asking.
Yeah.
And then you're on the hook. You have to understand. They're taking your offer because you're over asking.
Because you're
you
over
beat
asking,
someone else.
Yeah.
So you can't now say, well, I don't want the house if it doesn't appraise. It's not going to appraise. The realtors are good at
Of course, yeah,
at
that's
pricing a house, right? You guys know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're good at it. So you appraise the house at the price that you feel it's going to sell or it's going to appraise. So if you're offering $80,000 over, you have to understand that it's not going to appraise at that price. And now you're stuck.
Now you're stuck,
with that price because you went over. You went over. So it's hard, but I explain to my clients. I have clients that say no, we're not going to buy it.
Good.
But most of the clients are like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
I don't know where they get the money from.
Until the appraisal comes in.
Yeah. I had a situation with a seller I was representing. I'm actually representing, and we went in at a certain price. I knew it was going to appraise higher, but they wanted more. We accepted an offer that was a lot higher. So I'll give you the scenario. So we accepted an offer that was a lot higher. Of course, it didn't appraise. It appraised at the number that we listed it for. So now the buyer was like, well, now I don't want it because it didn't appraise. We got lucky because this is actually a co-op. So we got lucky because another co-op, the same size co-op, closed literally like 2 days after the appraisal for the exact number that we were under contract for. But they wanted because I give the price. So they went in at 235. It's a co-op. It's a one-bedroom co-op. 235, and they settled at 215. We were literally in contract for 215. So it closed, and now we had to go back out and do another appraisal. But we would have lost that buyer because, of course, they went into a gun hole. Yeah, I pay that amount, and then when it comes
because at first you're excited, you're motivated,
that's
you can do it.
$25,000 difference. That's the big
you're
difference.
gonna get it. You're gonna get this house. It's gonna praise. Don't worry. Maybe the agent told them, don't worry, this is gonna praise. And then when it doesn't, then like, oh wait, what's going on?
Yeah, Sean, can we work something out? No,
like what are we?
Because I'm representing the seller. Me now, I'm like, no, we're leaving. Guess we're keeping the down payment.
Like you bid over asking, and then you went into a bidding war, right? And you know that you're offering more than what it was listed for.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you could have sold it for more, the agent would have listed it for more.
The agent would have listed more. Exactly. Well, they made a good profit. So back to what we were saying, they bought this co-op 7 years ago for only $80,000.
Wow.
So buy something, because when you're ready, and this is the same couple that's building in North Carolina. So they're going down there and they're putting like half down on that new house in North Carolina. Yeah. So buy something. Generational wealth.
No, really, it's if you want to help your family.
Yeah.
Generational wealth and all of that. I know we hear that term a lot.
Yes,
but it is so true.
Yeah,
it really is true.
It is, because a lot of us came from
nothing.
Yeah. And I feel like our grandparents, they knew buying a house was something a little different for them, because they weren't allowed to buy homes, and they really didn't teach us to start that process a little earlier.
But I think now we have the obligation to teach our kids. So now it's like, buy a house. This is what you have to do.
Yeah, definitely. So, do it.
I think that's a good advice. I think that's a great advice.
So I knew you was gonna be a pro with this. She was a little nervous. I knew she was gonna be a pro with this.
I talk a lot.
Before we leave, subscribe, hit the notification button, like. We don't do thumbs down, so don't give me a thumbs down.
Yeah, no thumbs down.
Not at all. Let's leave them with your information, because you have a social media, you have an Instagram account.
I do. So it's Rosario Law Group. That's an Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Okay. How can they contact you?
Because I just learned that. So I'm very excited about that, my Instagram page. So my office is in Freeport. I'm at 42 Guy Lombardo Avenue in Freeport, New York. And my number is 516-517-2340. And if I'm not there, you can speak to Jacelyn. Just call her. She loves it. She loves to help people. Jacelyn or Ashley or Natalie, whoever you call, they'll be more than happy to take your call. And we're very helpful at the office. And I think it's our responsibility as adults to do this, to buy a house, to build this generational wealth, and to lift the community.
The people that's behind us up.
That's,
like you said, right?
Listen, that's our responsibility. If we've been blessed with something, it's our responsibility. We can't just turn around and not look back, and not look back to our community. That's horrible.
Definitely. Listen, a lot of free game coming from Olivia. I appreciate you for coming.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
And don't forget the Woman of the Year.
I was just about to mention that.
Yes. Okay.
We will be there.
Yes.
Matt's coming.
With a $100,000 check.
With a $100,000 check. We'll be there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
That was good.